Hello Gemini, and welcome to your Lunar Cycle Insight video for the Lunar Cycle beginning with the new moon solar eclipse in Cancer on the 12th or 13th of July, depending on where you are in the world, and culminating with the dark moon in Leo as we approach the Leo new moon solar eclipse on the 11th of August, just as we kind of reach the peak of the Lionsgate opening for this year. So it's an incredibly transformative and powerful month for all signs, and this video is designed to guide you through the energies, to help you to understand how they are working with your own natal chart, with your own specific frequency, so that you can flow with them rather than resist or fight against them. So we open this lunar cycle with this new moon partial eclipse in the sign of Cancer, and this for all of us is our first taste of what we can expect when the lunar cycle, the eclipse cycle, shifts, when the nodes change signs later this year. So next year we will be having a lot more eclipses on the Cancer Capricorn axis. So this eclipse for all of us is like a little sneak preview. It kind of shows you which parts of your chart the incoming change in energy is going to start amplifying. So as we look at this eclipse, we can see that it falls in your second house, Gemini. Cancer rules over the second house of the birth chart for you, and this is a beautiful Venus ruled house that governs over our feelings of self-value, our feelings of self-worth, and our physical, tangible resources. This is a house that is very much associated with financial abundance and prosperity. And both Cancer and the second house are energies that really seek security and stability. They both really want to have that feeling of internal safeness, to know that, for Taurus, to know that they will be financially and physically provided for, and for Cancer to know that they will be emotionally nourished and provided for. So a lot of these themes can come up around the new moon. There may be issues of looking at how you are giving and receiving nurturing in your life, how equal the flow of energy is between what you give and receive, how you value your time and energy and resources. And this can be a new beginning in this area of your chart as well. This is a really good time to set intentions, to call forth the practical physical resources that you need for the next phase of your journey. The lunar eclipse will be opposed by Pluto. Now, Pluto is the energy of the underworld. He is the king of the shadows, and he is currently in your 8th house in the sign of Capricorn alongside Saturn, which is why you at this time, Gemini, are being called to do all of that deep internal psychological digging, processing. You know, you're going really deep into all of your fears at this time as Saturn transits this space in your birth chart. And with the eclipse highlighting Pluto as well, this can be a time when you are looking at deep inner soul work, deep inner transformation. Also around the time of the eclipse, Jupiter is going to be stationing retrograde in Scorpio, so we are all going to be working with the frequency of transmutation, of purging, of shedding and letting go of the masks and allowing ourselves to be open and vulnerable. And for you, Gemini, this might trigger some fears because you are an air sign, you know, you are not always comfortable with commitment and with the deep emotional intensity that Scorpio craves. So this can be a time of you really honoring and embracing those fears and being willing to go even further, to peel back even more layers. And you know, with the Cancerian energies, we're all going to be looking at our karmic history, our ancestral lineage. So perhaps some of these fears are rooted in childhood. It's a good time for you to ask if your inner child feels safe and nurtured. You know, look back at your childhood and dive deep into whether you felt nourished, whether you felt supported, whether you felt safe and held, whether there was enough love, enough money while you were growing up. It can be having an impact on your resources and your intimate connections and your levels of self-love in the now. So this is a really interesting time as the new moon energies also come with a beautiful Merkaba or Star of David pattern that is forming in the sky. This beautiful trine, this water trine that's being activated by the moon as she reaches the eclipse point. She's coming into harmony with Jupiter in Scorpio, who, like I said, is stationing, and Neptune in Pisces. So this is illuminating your second house, your 10th house, and your 6th house. And we also have an earth trine forming between your 8th, that Capricorn in the 8th, Venus, who is transiting Virgo, in the 4th, and Uranus in Taurus, who is in your 12th house. So these energies really open a portal where you can look at how much goodness you're allowing yourself to receive on a psychological level, you know, on a spiritual level. Are you allowing yourself to receive support from the universe, from the cosmos, or are you struggling and pushing and trying to do everything yourself? You know, this is a moment of fluidity and flow, of letting go and surrendering to what wants to be let go of, so the new can be birthed through you. So we open the month on that somewhat transformational yet beautifully expansive energy that can help us manifest our desires as it strips away the layers of the old. So on the 22nd, the sun moves into Leo. We really come into those Lionsgate energies. We've got our sun and Sirius, the blue star, the spiritual light of our cosmos, the brightest star in the sky, rising together. We're in the eclipse tunnel. Mars is retrograde, lingering around the south node. Things are going to feel intense. Things are going to feel unsteady. But the sun will now move into your 3rd house. And this is a really interesting energy because the throat chakra is naturally ruled over by Gemini and Mercury. And it's the house of expression through the voice. And Leo is the sign of authentic self-expression. So the sun's going to light up this area of your chart that is calling you to really come and roar your truth, to really come and speak and share your creative endeavors with the world. Yet also Mercury, your ruler, is going to be going retrograde here just 4 days after. Mercury stations retrograde on the 26th of July in that third house, and he's going to be in square to Jupiter in your sixth house, the house of purification, the house that is ruled over by Virgo. So this is really going to be a Mercury retrograde for you, of learning how to use your voice, learning how to speak your authentic truth, of purging those negative thoughts and belief systems you have around yourself. The sixth house can be the area where we hold a lot of self-criticism. As I said, it's the house ruled over by Virgo, the other Mercury ruled sign, and it can be a space of hypercriticism where we can continually make ourselves feel like we're not good enough, or it can highlight areas of our life where we are self-sabotaging by not purifying. So this again can really highlight areas of your life that need to be cleaned up, that need to be decluttered. But it's particularly related to you learning how to share your deep, intimate feelings, how to speak your truth, how to ask for that nourishment that you require on an emotional and spiritual level from other people. Perhaps you will be talking through some of the psychological issues, some of the fears that may be rising as that 8th house energy is really stimulated in your chart. So it's going to be a potent time of reworking. On a practical level, you know, this may have to be, you may have to rework some of your creative outputs. If you are somebody who speaks and teaches or writes or communicates in some way for a living, this can be an extra sticky energy for you. This can be a time, particularly with Mars retrograde as well, where we have to really cultivate our inner center to really find that peace within us, so we're not getting explosive or overstimulated by these energies. So Mercury is going to be retrograde there until the 9th of August. So he's going to be retrograde for a lot of the eclipse tunnel. So this really invites you, Gemini, to go within, to still your thoughts and see what needs to be cleared still from your life, because we know you're kind of in the fires of initiation already with this 8th house activation. So allow yourself to just deeply let go of whatever is holding you back. The lunar eclipse is the big eclipse of the season. It occurs on the 27th of July, and of course in the sign of Aquarius, conjunct that Mars South Node energy. And this is one of the biggest lunar eclipses. It's one of the longest lunar eclipses that we have had in many, many years, and it's a blood moon eclipse, which is very appropriate considering that it is conjunct Mars the warrior. So for all of us, this eclipse will bring revelation, it will bring shifts, it will bring changes. No matter which area of our birth chart it is in, there will be a need to let go of things, a need to shed the past, a need to really look at our habits, our behaviors, the emotional stuff that we are clinging on to, that we feel keeps us secure, yet perhaps really keeps us stagnant. So we will all be in a process of release, particularly around Martian themes and Aquarian themes during this period, during this eclipse window. So this is a time of really liberating yourself from all of those things that stifle your soul, really reclaiming your power, cutting the ties that bind, cutting the cords that are keeping you stuck. But specifically for you, Gemini, this eclipse is lighting up again that third house where the sun is. Of course, the full moon is opposite the sun. And the ninth house. And the ninth house is the Sagittarius house. It's the house of the higher mind, the bigger vision. It's the house where we seek truth. It's the house where we absorb knowledge and wisdom from the gurus, from the teachers, from the higher realms. And then perhaps, if you've got a lot of Sagittarius or ninth house energy in your chart, you eventually will become that guru, will become that teacher. So for you, with this eclipse, there could be a deep need to let go of old spiritual teachings, old truths. Perhaps you have been rapidly evolving on your journey at this time, Gemini, yet you still find yourself getting pulled backwards into what you used to believe or what you used to think was true. And now is the time to let go of that and expand your mind, to open up to receive new knowledge, new wisdom, new teachings. And this can be really tricky because I think even if we're not religious, even if we are part of the spiritual community or we've been involved in the New Age movement, there are things about that energy that can be quite dogmatic. There are still belief patterns and behaviors that we just accept and we can become entrenched in until something or someone comes and moves us up to the next level of evolution. So what the ninth house reminds us, there's always more to learn, there's always more to know. But on the deepest level, this eclipse can reveal to you that you don't need to look outside of yourself for answers anymore, Gemini. You are your own best teacher. Everything you need to know is within you. But perhaps we need to move through a few layers of old beliefs to get to that point. And this eclipse will really, really help you with that. You may be involved with groups or workshops, spiritual circles at this time that you may need to reassess your involvement with as well. This can also be the house of travel, of expanding your knowledge through living in or experiencing different cultures. So if any of you are traveling at this time, be open to the new experience, be open to the wisdom that you can gain from learning about the ways that other people live. So that is the lunar eclipse, and of course that energy is going to reverberate around the cosmos for another 2 weeks as we move out until we move out the other side of the eclipse portal on the 11th of August. And I also wanted to mention that eclipse will be square Uranus, who has been in your 12th house since May this year, and this is the house of the subconscious. This is the house of the things that we normally keep hidden. So this moon can really illuminate old patterns, old behaviors, particularly sabotaging or addictive behaviors that we have been holding on to. And it can also, this house is where we kind of bridge the worlds, bridge the dimensions. So a lot of the stuff that rises up may have its roots also in previous incarnations, in other timelines. So often when this happens, things that seem insignificant can become very emotionally upsetting or disturbing. And it's because we're not just shedding a layer of the experience in this physical body, but also in previous lifetimes. So that's something else to to bear in mind, but this is a real moment where you can liberate yourself. So allow whatever needs to rise up and let it go. So we have a little bit of a cosmic break after that eclipse, thank goodness. And on the 6th of August, Venus shifts signs. So she has been moving through Virgo in your 4th house since the 9th of July, Gemini. And this can be a time where you feel naturally called within. You might just want to spend time beautifying your home. You might feel the need to clean and reorganize and declutter, because we're talking about that Virgo energy again. Getting rid of the old, making way for the new. Such a powerful thing to do always, but particularly in eclipse seasons. So she's going to be leaving that kind of inner sanctum, the inner temple of your birth chart, and she's going to be heading into your 5th house in Libra. And this is a much nicer energy for you, Gemini. Of course, Venus in Libra naturally makes a trine to Gemini, fellow air sign. So this can be a time where you can find joy, you can find comfort through being with other people, through socializing, through talking, which we know is what you love to do. It's what you're born to do, Gemini. You are the natural communicator, the natural storyteller. So interaction with other people lights up your soul. So from the 6th of August onwards, make the time to play, to have fun. This can also be a time, if you're single, Gemini, that you can be going on dates. You can feel a little bit more spontaneous, a little bit more playful, a little bit more open. So it's a nice break after all of the seriousness and heaviness and all of that 8th house and Scorpio stuff going on. So on the 7th, just before the Lion's Gate, Uranus is going to station in your 12th house, as I mentioned earlier. So that's kind of revisiting the energies of the lunar eclipse, and it's kind of like, oh, you know, what else do I need to clear from my subconscious? What other thought forms and old karmic connections and ties and binds am I holding on to that are not serving me, that are not helping me? So that's another moment of clarity for you. And then we will head into the Lion's Gate, into the dark moon before the Leo solar eclipse, which will also fall in that 3rd house and be square to Jupiter. So it's highlighting that axis of purifying your thoughts, purifying your fears, so you can come into authentic self-expression again. And you know, we can look at this as a whole. You know, a big theme for this month is learning how to use your voice to express your emotions, Gemini. And that new moon, which I'll talk about more in the next video, will really encourage that. So for this lunar cycle, I've decided to work with the Isis Oracle again, because it's one of my favorites, and also because Isis to the ancient Egyptians was, of course, the embodiment of Sirius, of the celestial energy of the divine feminine, which is going to be flowing through the cosmos, flowing through the ethers throughout this period as we work with the Lion's Gate, we work with Sirius. So 3 cards actually threw themselves out for you as I was shuffling before I began this reading. So we have Rising Sun, the divine solar child reborn. Let's get this so you can see it without the light reflecting on it. Okay, so we can see Isis there, and she is holding baby Horus, the sun child, in her arms, and she's looking a little bit fierce. And this card can be about holding and nurturing your visions and your dreams. So this is really a message for you to tend to your goals this month, tend to your dreams and visions as you would a small child. And also it's another message, a confirmation for you to allow yourself that space to be nourished, that space to be loved. quite often our parents, our mother might not have nourished us, nurtured us in the ways that we would have liked. And it's important for us to remember that there is a great mother, the great goddess, who in astrology is embodied by the sign of Cancer, that will, anytime we ask, offer us that love, that nurturance, that support. You know, she is ever providing and ever abundant, linking in with those second house energies. So be sure to let yourself receive from her, receive from the people around you, so that you can in turn be of service. And the second card that jumped out here is Brother in Darkness, overcoming negative energy with feminine power. So again, that speaks about being held in the protection of the Great Mother. And this card really speaks to me of you with your 8th house transits at this time, going through the shadows, facing those fears. And it's just a reminder to love yourself through that, to hold yourself in love, Gemini, instead of trying to run from these deep feelings. Hold them and love them like you would a little baby. Accept them and honor them and know that they are part of you. You as the sign of duality, you are the twins. Your journey is to learn how to embrace light and dark within yourself and within the world, the eternal, ever-changing cycle of life. And the third card, oh, that one's jumping away again. The third card that fell out for you is another Sun Child card. It's got Horus again. Blessings of the Sun Falcon. So this card really speaks to me of you, let's get the light reflecting on it, of you overcoming those negative thoughts, of you going through that phase of mental purification and reaching a point where you feel the light returning by the end of the month, by the time we get to the next, or the third and final eclipse in the sign of the Sun. It's very interesting, the Sun Child popping up for you with the Sun in his own sign during this period of restructuring, of reworking, of reclaiming the lost parts of yourself, the lost parts of your soul, which can be another part of the 8th house Scorpio journey too. So that card is confirmation that the work that you are doing will be rewarded. The light will return, the blessings will start to pour in, but you do need to be aware of embracing any inner shadows that rise, or, you know, are reflected to you through your relationships or connections over the coming weeks. So thank you so much for listening to me, Gemini, and I hope you have a beautiful and blessed lunar cycle. There are some links below this video if you would like to connect with me further. So much love to you.